近年来，中泰两国经济合作日渐加深，双边贸易额持续走高。即使受新冠肺炎疫情冲击，2020年中泰双边贸易额仍接近1000亿美元，同比增长7.67%。在继续保持泰国最大贸易伙伴的同时，中国还于2019年首次超越日本，成为泰国第1大外商投资来源国。虽然已经取得累累硕果，但是两国仍将继续加强合作，创造更多共赢的成果。那么，未来中泰两国将从哪些方面加强经贸合作？区域合作是否会成为两国合作的新基石？中泰经贸关系对于东盟又有哪些积极影响？本期南财对话，我们邀请到泰王国驻上海总领事勒达普马，聊聊他对上述问题的看法。
Hello, Ms. Phumas. It's my great honor to have you here to interview you. Now, let's talk about the Bangkok Shanghai conference first. As I learned, the fourth Bangkok Shanghai Economic Conference has already taken place. Would you like to share more details about it?
Allow me to reflect some of the few takeaways from the fourth Bangkok Shanghai Economic Conference. The first one, why COVID-19 has posed some negative effects on life and livelihood of the two peoples. It can also open our eyes that all issues are interconnected, whether it is like health issue, biodiversity issues, climate change, economic development. So it actually offers us opportunities to think and rethink how to balance the economic development path while all the things surrounding us, such as bio, circular, and green, how we can balance all of these things with the economic development. So it's very important. But at the same time, we realize that we still have to remain robust and competitive in economic. So this is also a vital factor for economic development in the region and in the country. So the first keyword takes away its sustainability. With the whole of society approach, it's one of the first key takeaways. And what I mentioned, it is coincides with China's high quality development. It coincides with Shanghai's high quality and green development, as well as efforts which has been put forward so far by our friends, 3 provinces in Yangtze River Delta, namely Zhejiang, Jiangsu, and Anhui, especially Anhui. I went there. It has so far achieved tremendous success in its development in terms of science, technology, innovation, poverty eradication, and sustainable development. The second key takeaway is cooperation and partnerships. Why I would like to say that Thailand and China, especially the Yangtze River Delta, can look into the BCG economy model in terms of STI, research and development, business and investment, as well as regional and global partnerships in many areas of common interest, from bioeconomy, bioenergy, to circular economy, biodiversity protection, and green economy, and of course, with advanced technologies and innovations. And third key takeaway, Thailand's BCG and China's high-quality development strategy offers a wide range of opportunities for concrete business and investment cooperation. So business and investment partnership is another key message to our future successful cooperation and partnership. Connecting Thailand and China, connecting EEC of Thailand and Yangtze River Delta, which cover Shanghai, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Anhui. It's a promising task. And This requires strong wills and continued efforts from both government and business friends to drive the cooperation forward. Last but not least, the last and most important keyword is people-to-people connectivity. Remain very vital to what I mentioned above. I am delighted our two peoples have good friendship and good feeling towards each other, and even embrace more cordial approach while with kind understanding of each other. So the media like yourself also has an important role to play in strengthening bonds and friendship between Thailand and China and between our two peoples.
Do you think regional cooperation will be a main trend for China-Thailand trade relation, like the Thailand's EEC and Yangtze River Delta, or EEC and the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area?
So China is our largest trading partner for 9 consecutive years, and the bilateral trade value is almost 100 billion USD last year, with the annual growth of 7.6%, even among the COVID-19 situation. And besides, China was our largest source of foreign tourists, with 11 million Chinese visiting Thailand in 2019, accounting for almost a third of the total of foreign tourists to Thailand. And in terms of investment, Chinese investment to Thailand, it's always within our top 3. While China is also attractive for the Thai businesses, Thai investors who love to challenge themselves more in a bigger market like Chinese market. In the first year of this year, in the first half of 2021, our bilateral trade was almost 50 billion US dollar, which increased by 29.16%. And at the same time, in the consulate district, we take care of Shanghai, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, and Anhui, which is the Yangtze River Delta. It's the key to the Thai-China bilateral relations, especially on the economic front. The trade between Thailand and China, Thailand and YRD in 2020 was almost 36 billion USD. Actually, it's increased by 7% from 2019. It's actually account for 36% of the total bilateral trade. And more of the Chinese tourists from the YRD, actually, more percentage of them coming to Thailand in the total Chinese tourists to Thailand. So this is why Yangtze River Delta is very important area to Thailand. And even if we compare the first half of this year, despite the COVID, the bilateral trade between Thailand, Shanghai, Thailand, Zhejiang, Jiangsu, and Anhui, all on the rise. They are on the rise, despite this situation. And it's actually account 1/3 of the Thai-China bilateral trade in total in the same period of time. So I believe that the strong potential of YRD will really have to provide us with more opportunities that we, Thailand, EEC, can work closer to China and YRD. And with many possible areas of cooperation like STI, R&D, and innovation. So, and also one more thing, I think it's about digital economy, that we can learn a lot from the Yangtze River Delta, which is the most vibrant economic area of China.
As you mentioned, a lot of Chinese investments in Thailand came from the Yangtze River Delta. Would you like to share more details?
Strategically, I would love to say that we have statistics shows that Chinese investment project submit to the Board of Investment of Thailand in 2020 value quite high. It's like 985 million USD, which equivalent to about 15% of Thailand's FDI. And also at the beginning of this year, first half of 2021, China FDI project application to the Board of Investment to Thailand it's about 577 million USD, equivalent to about 6.5%, despite the COVID-19. But can you imagine before we have COVID-19, it's tremendous with the spectacular of 11-fold increase from about 760 million USD in 2016 to 8,200 million USD in 2019. So it shows that Chinese investment in Thailand in terms of project value, it's very high and it's quite high comparing to other countries. So that's why we look into the areas, we look into industries that the Chinese love to invest in Thailand. In the past, we see very traditional areas of industry, such as large-scale manufacturing, including machineries, metal products, electronic products, tile, automotive parts, and solar panels. But this trend has been changed. It has been shifted to ICT, right? So it's more digital technologies or AI, smart city, and medical equipment. Why? Because all of this also in line with Thailand 4.0 and digital economy strategy.
How will you enhance two countries' companies' cooperation during your term?
We're not working alone. We have Team Thailand. Team Thailand, it means the relevant authorities, we work in one roof. So we have representative from commerce, we have representative from the Board of Investment, we have representative from Tourism Authority of Thailand. So we work together, and also like agricultural consul. So we work in one roof and we work as a team. So what we have been doing so far for the Board of Investment in Shanghai, the representative, she conduct many promotion events across the Yangtze River Delta area and also other regions in China. So for example, they organized the roundtable meeting and door knocking to the investor even in Jiangsu, Chongqing. So this is the area that they are looking for more cooperation. For the areas, of course, we're looking for something, BCG, which is very related to our theme of the Bangkok Shanghai Economic Conference. We look into digital economy. We look into digital industry cooperation. So this is the area that the Board of Investment has been promoting and doing the door knocking activities. The second office is the commerce, the commercial consul. They also promote Thai products in online platform. We have Tmall official store for the Thai product to be display to be known by the Chinese friends in China. And also they do activities to support like trade liberalization and globalization in terms of we have the companies participating in CIIE. You know, CIIE is the heart of Shanghai. So we continue to have strong support for CIIE. Or even this year, we also planning to have quite a number of companies to participate in the upcoming CIIE. You know, in November. If I remember correctly, it's 5 to 10 November. So they are doing all this kind of activities to continue to support also, not only from the Thai perspective, but also we know this is the issue that Chinese government also focus on. So we see how we can contribute and we can work in tandem, hand in hand.
What areas will have more opportunities?
I think if you really look back to what we achieved during the fourth Bangkok Shanghai Economic Conference, I have some few areas that I would like to highlight. The first one is research and development partnership, and we focus on science, technology, and innovation. So in terms of the BCG itself, I think Thailand can share with China, our Chinese friends, on our experience in bioeconomy, bioenergy, and that's a very at the policy making level. We have also the best practice in industrial symbiosis, biodiversity protection, and green skills training. And at the same time, we look for Chinese expertise on the development of green hydrogen and carbon capture technologies. The second one is on business and investment partnership. Of course, we look into the areas ranging from solar power plants to refuse derived fuel and waste to energy plants, and also promoting a recycling system for waste material and establishing circulation agricultural production. So this is the area of the business and investment. Last but not least, on regional partnerships, we aspire to drive the BCG cooperation in the region and beyond through multilateral fora to advance a more balanced and sustainable growth. And actually, we want to leave no one behind. So that's why BCG is one of the solutions that we're thinking of. So Thailand support the expanding of ASEAN-China Year for Sustainable Development Cooperation to 2022. And also now Thailand is the ASEAN coordinator on Sustainable Development Cooperation. And I think Thailand will continue our role to be a bridge builder to transfer know-how on BCG between ASEAN and our external partners, and Yangtze River Delta's experience and best practice in circular economy, natural disaster management, food security, poverty eradication, and rural revitalization are very much welcome.
This year marks the 30th anniversary of ASEAN-China dialogue relation. You worked in the ACC for several years. So how do you comment on China-ASEAN relations?
It's actually my great honor and pleasure to work at the ASEAN-China Center or ACC in Beijing during the time when Thailand was the country coordinator for China-ASEAN dialogue relations. So I was the director of public relations, Sinwan Kongkon Pu Juran. So at the Trung Tung Wang Zhongxian, and I was among the first batch of ASEAN diplomats being designated, appointed to work at the ACC. So I think our cooperation, ASEAN-China cooperation, has gone from strength to strength. And in all areas of cooperation, in all dimensions, ranging from security, political, economics, connectivity, and people-to-people connectivity. And I think it's one of the good sample of dialogue relations between ASEAN and other external partners. So sending me to be at the ACC illustrate how the Thai government has been put significance to the relations between ASEAN and China, and it was my honor to work with the Chinese people and friends. So getting back to ASEAN-China relations, we witnessed strong bond of relations in all areas, and I strongly believe that China is and will continue to be one of the most important dialogue partners and strategic partnerships for ASEAN. In light of COVID-19, ASEAN and China relations even further strengthened. I really have to say that real or true friends coming when it's bad time. So when we face COVID pandemic, we have very good cooperation in terms of anti-pandemic supply assistance and vaccine production, research and development. And I think this kind of cooperation, it reflects China's role, how China can constructively engage with ASEAN in terms of pandemic. And I think all ASEAN friends, of course, including Thailand, we highly appreciated China's role.
And what kind of role of China-Thailand relation play in ASEAN?
And as Thailand adopt the BCG model as our post-COVID national strategy, and we think that this can add value to China's Belt and Road Initiative in terms of promoting ecological and environmental cooperation, as well as green recovery. So we would love to foster ASEAN and China cooperation in terms of sustainable development, BCG, and also we have the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies and Dialogue in Bangkok. So I think this is the areas that ASEAN and China can cooperate more. And one of the issues that I have been to mention about China's proactive, we expect to have China continue support for ASEAN connectivity. You know, we have master plan on ASEAN connectivity, and also this can also complement with the Belt and Road Initiative. So many projects, you know, bilateral projects in ASEAN, or also including in Thailand, can also help support the connectivity in the region, and also can support connectivity between ASEAN and China. And I think many concretized projects will make the region more connected. And when we prosper, so we prosper together.
Would you like to overlook the future of ASEAN in terms of economic affairs?
I wish to reiterate that the significance of ASEAN connectivity, linking with the connecting the connectivities. This cooperation, in fact, has helped greater linkages between ASEAN and the regions, as well as the regional economic cooperation. These two terms, ASEAN connectivities, connecting the connectivities, and regional economic cooperation. All this will be the most important keyword for a stronger economic recovery and create more resilient ASEAN in coping with the new and unprecedented challenge. So these three keywords, I can summarize. It's very important for our economic development. So to ensure that we have a good flow of supply chains in light of the economic recovery, full and effective implementation of ASEAN-China FTA. And I know this is under the stage of upgrading ASEAN-China ACFTA, and also the early entry into force of the RCEP. RCEP, it's the world's largest trade pact, right? While the ASEAN-China FTA also the largest FTA among developing countries. So the bilateral ASEAN-China +1 FTA and also regional like RCEP, which is a larger context with larger population and also the GDP. This will not only reinforce ASEAN centrality, building a strong and robust and resilient ASEAN, but it also helps to deepen and broaden economic integration in the region and beyond. RCEP is actually even more crucial as the region is seeking for efforts to reinvigorate the economies from the impact of COVID-19. So that's why this bilateral grouping or bilateral, it means country and country, or ASEAN and +1 dialogue partner, or RCEP. They are important for the regional economic integration. So it is estimated that the RCEP will increase additional percentage for Thailand GDP, and we are fully confident that the RCEP will bring more opportunities for both Thailand and foreign investors, including China, particularly in export and manufacturing sectors such as auto parts, food processing. So more business opportunities will be created and more countries join RCEP in the future. So there will be more opportunity with more people participation, right? So I think China foreign trade with 14 other RCEP countries amount that high up to 1.5 billion USD in 2020, and it's account for 31% of the total FDI of China during the period. And I think China's dual circulation paradigm can work hand in hand with the RCEP to promote sustainable regional growth. And I do believe that it's not just only the future of ASEAN that you're asking. You're asking about the future of ASEAN economic connectivities, economic cooperations, economic prosperities. But I believe RCEP and regional integration also the future of China and the region as well.
It's my great honor to have you here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I hope that everyone looking at our interview today will have more knowledge about Thailand and China relations, as well as Thailand and the Yangtze River Delta, which is under the responsibility of the Consulate General in Shanghai. สวัสดีค่ะ